I've been meaning to make a short video about the differences between Bulgaria and Greece. Here you see some footage of the island of Greece. And why would people choose to live in Bulgaria over Greece or the other way around? Mostly it comes down either to lifestyle and climate or to property prices. So both Greece and Bulgaria have very varied landscapes with lots to offer for many kinds of people. Just the thing is that Greece obviously has the coast and the islands going for it. Bulgaria does have a decent coastline, but it's already pretty much overly built, and other places um, are not yet, well, plenty of places haven't been ruined, but it's not the number one coastal destination in Europe still. That would still be Greece. Greece is more Mediterranean, it's more exotic in a sense. It has the image going for it, the lifestyle, the food, the friendly people, and Greece has an image that's hard to beat by Bulgaria, and the result of that is that even the Bulgarians often just go to Greece if they can afford it rather than the Bulgarian coast, although you do have a small percentage that will always be in Bulgaria instead. In terms of climate, I much prefer Bulgaria, by the way, starting with Bulgaria footage right now, over the climate of Greece because I'm fairly pale-skinned and I cannot deal with the sun very well. If I spend a day by the pool or the seaside in Greece, I basically can do that only around sunset because otherwise I would burn as a crisp, and plenty of Europeans have the same problem. Greece just gets too hot in summer, and that's unlikely to change for the better anytime soon. You'll find that inland Greece is a lot better, and actually, despite many people not knowing, has landscapes that would look out of place in Switzerland. It has mountain ranges, it has many forestal areas as well, so inland Greece and the mainland has my preference, even for traveling, because it's very diverse, just as diverse as Bulgaria. The whole Balkan Peninsula is quite diverse in terms of landscapes, but the climate in Bulgaria is a bit less harsh and it really has 4 seasons instead of having a very hot summer and just a sort of mild winter, although that is slowly changing as well. It is now the half of December and we still haven't had any serious snow in Bulgaria. Oh, we've had some, but it's been a couple of days. But it's not a harsh winter as we used to have 10 years ago. In terms of urban and rural living, I would much prefer to live in a Bulgarian city over a Greek city. Greek cities were mostly constructed during the 1970s and they had a huge urbanization going, whereas in Bulgaria that happened around a little bit earlier perhaps. And many flats were constructed, but in Greece, entire cities were constructed. Athens is just basically a jungle. I know it has the parks and the hills inside it and you have the coast, but I would still much prefer living in Sofia over anywhere in Athens. I just find it too big, too crowded. Sofia is about half the size of Athens and I find far more manageable also in terms of traffic, in terms of crowds, public transport especially. If you're in a bus in Sofia, it's not likely to be stuck in traffic at all, it just sort of moves on. In Athens, that's a whole different story, and the metro is uh, fairly short, even in comparison to Sofia. It is not a huge network. Sofia gets you pretty much anywhere in the city. Good network of public transport. Rural living, both Greece and Bulgaria have a good advantage that you can basically live in any setting you want, whether that's beach or countryside or mountain, whatever. There's not much difference in either. It might be property prices that they're pretty much competing. You can find good deals in Greece and good deals in Bulgaria, still in the deep countryside. On the coast, not so much, although, well, I think coastal living in Bulgaria might be a little bit cheaper still. Nonetheless, Athens, in terms of urban living, might be a little bit cheaper than Sofia in terms of apartment pricing. But what it comes down to as well is the government, and the Greek and the Bulgarian government are an entirely different story. And it is a bit strange because the governments are plagued by horrible corruption, both in Greece and Bulgaria, as basically everyone in the world knows. Although in Greece it is even more bureaucratic and I believe even more corrupt and even less competent. We've seen during COVID a significant difference between how both Bulgaria and Greece handled the situation, where we saw that Bulgaria was one of the most lax countries in the European Union, and Greece might have been the very strictest because it had abhorrent rules with quarantine facilities and people getting fines for so many different things for being together in cars. And Bulgaria basically had some ups and downs in the situation. In the beginning, it was quite strict with rules and even a while that you couldn't leave the city at all, but it was quite short. In the beginning, there was some panic. But after that, it basically calmed down very fast, whereas Greece just went full steam for 2 years long. You can do with that information what you want. I would basically draw my conclusions off of them. And the same is in terms of taxes. Greece has some of the highest taxes in Europe, and Bulgaria is about the lowest, with a 10% income tax in Bulgaria pretty much settled. Property taxes is probably a big advantage in Bulgaria as well. It's likely to be either low or basically non-existent. Same for cars, same for everything, because you really don't see expensive cars in Greece. That's probably because there's some horrible tax on basically anything that can drive around or has wheels. Whereas in Bulgaria, you're basically the king of the road. If you have a couple thousand euros, the taxes are ridiculously low, which is fine for me because even though I don't have a car, I think taxes should be low and the government should stay out of our business. And I think the Bulgarian government is much more likely to stay out of your business than the Greek government. Do not have expectations of the Bulgarian government, but you won't be bothered by them either.